Hey y'all. Okay, something was brought to my attention, and I wanted to share this. Okay, I want to share it with everyone. It's about a boy. Okay, a black teenager that lived in Louisiana. Okay, 14 years old. His name is Jason Smith. Um, he was another person who was killed and had his organs removed. And it's another cover up. They have once again dismissed the case, deemed it as accidental drowning. Okay, so I want to show you guys a couple of things, and I'm going to read an article to you. But this right here, I want to show you. This is on Urban Intellectuals. Just a short article right here. Black Louisiana teen found dead in a lake with his organs removed in accidental drowning. Okay, now mind you, this happened in 2011. Okay, this article was done March 23rd, 2017. But the family is wanting light shed on this case, and it was never, it was really never brought to the public like that. So a lot of people did not know about this, and they want the case reopened. They want it reopened, and for, justice to be brought to their son, and who can blame them? Okay, so 14-year-old Jason Smith was found dead in an Eros, Louisiana lake. His death was deemed an accidental drowning, but his body was found with no organs. His family believe they know who killed their son, they know the organs were removed, and he was also raped prior to being killed. But why would someone cover up a murder? Smith's family believe it's because the murderer was a KKK card-carrying son of an FBI agent. It sounds far-fetched, but the missing organs mean that maybe this murder should have gotten more attention. At the time of the death, he was found dead on June 6, 2011. The media was very light in the coverage of his death, and very little details were released. And this is him right here. As well as saying that his son was sexually assaulted and murdered by the son of an FBI agent, Jason's father claims that the police tried to kill him and another one of his sons when they were leaving town. A petition that asked to reopen the case and exhume Jason's remains never gained traction, likely due to the low media coverage. Is this just conspiracy, or should we give Smith's family the dignity of trying to push for further investigation? Of course, they deserves that, it just okay, this right here is the Facebook this is the Facebook page. Okay, it's called Stop Cover Up of Jason Smith Murder. Okay. There has been some updated information on there. You can go to it and, check out what's on there. But the case has never been reopened or anything. But it has not, like they said, drawn enough attention from the media for it to be reopened, or for his body to be exhumed, or anything of that nature. Okay, so if you'd like to be a part of this, go to this Facebook page and like it, join it. It's follow. It's all they deserve the attention and the justice for their child. Okay. Let's see. I'll go ahead and read. Okay. See, I have an article that I want to read you. Okay, because it tells a lot on there. But here, I want to read this to you because this is on their Facebook page. Okay, and This is them, asking for help, explaining the situation, and trying to find out what's going on. Okay, June 6, 2011, Jason Smith died. He was 14 years old. He was on the wrong side of town in Eros, Louisiana, in a pond face down 30 feet from the bank. Jason could not swim. His family says that he never went fishing, but he was found dead in an unfenced pond at 7:15 p.m. A man and his son were on the scene in the pond when emergency responding personnel arrived. It was said they were looking for Jason. The man's son was one of the last persons to see Jason alive. Neither the father nor the son called 911. Jackson Parish Sheriff Department and ambulance responded to a 911 call by a woman at 6:45 p.m. An aluminum boat on the opposite bank was implicated by the father and the son, so the Sheriff Department did not conduct an investigation. The Sheriff Department called Wildlife and Fishery Department. Wildlife and Fishery agent prepared a report with the cover sheet boat crash incident. The report was only partially completed, but the commanding officer signed off and closed the case despite the many blanks left on the report and the odd categorization of a non-swimmer, non-fishing black 14-year-old boy's drowning in a stagnant pond on the white side of town. A wildlife and fishery agent wrote a summary of the drowning, stating this deceased and two other young men, both white, overloaded a boat. The boat overturned and the victim could not swim, but the boys swam to safety. Neither boy reported the incident to parents who they interacted with following the drowning incident. Two witnesses, aged 18 and 13, wrote statements. Their statements did not support the agent's summary. The wildlife and fishery agent read Miranda rights to three people who signed a form containing the statement indicating that an officer had provided this information, but no one was charged with a crime. There were no formal interviews of witnesses by law enforcement, but the aluminum boat was removed from the scene and taken to Monroe, Louisiana, and locked up. Bruce Smith, where the hell am I at? Oh, is Jason's father. He has terminal cancer. He's been battling colon cancer since 1998. Bruce wants justice for Jason before he dies. Over the last 15 months, people in Eros are contacting Bruce about Jason's death. The mother of the 13-year-old witness told Bruce that the older boy, the 18-year-old, killed Jason. She went on to say that her son tried to save Jason, but when Jason grabbed onto the younger boy, both of them were going down, so the younger boy broke free and swam to the pond's bank. The younger boy was told by the 18-year-old that he could not say anything or he would get in trouble. The mother has never been interviewed. Another person told Bruce that Jason and the older boy, the 18-year-old, was seen quarreling during the afternoon of June 6, 2011, and Jason was thrown into the pond by the older boy. Hours later, the 18-year-old returned to the pond with his father before the emergency responders were called. It is not known how long they were at the pond or what they were doing. They were present at the pond when the sheriff and an ambulance arrived after being dispatched following a call at 6:45 by a woman who dialed 911 saying there has been a drowning. Okay, where was I at? Drowning. Should have been long for it. No. Who dialed 911 saying there has been a drowning at the pond. Law enforcement never interviewed the father of the 18-year-old boy, never explored his activities at the pond, nor questioned him about the presence of the aluminum boat that no one remembered ever seeing at the pond. Jason Smith was a 14-year-old black boy who should have been in summer school on June 6, 2011. At least that's where his father thought he should have been. Jason's father, Bruce, was not in Eros, Louisiana on that fateful day. Bruce had escorted his mother back to California following the burial of his sister, or her sister, in Louisiana. Jason was left in the care of one of his older brothers and his father's brother. Law enforcement did not interview Jason's brother nor Jason's uncle. No one talked to the school about Jason and his summer school attendance. From the witness statement of the older boy, he and Jason were together from 8 to 2 on June 6, 2011. According to the Wildlife and Fishery Department agent's summary statement, the father of the older boy was at home all day. The older boy, witness 1, is white. The younger boy, witness 2, is also white, and many say that the drowning represents a white-on-black crime with cover-up by law enforcement. There are many questions about how the drowning of a 14-year-old boy was recorded as a boat crashing incident by Wildlife and Fishery Department, how an aluminum boat, which no one claimed ownership, resting on the opposite bank of the pond from that of the victim's body, became the pivotal element in the youth's drowning, so that Wildlife and Fishery handled the particulars and not the Sheriff's Department. The Wildlife and Fishery Department management signed off on an incomplete report with conflicting witness statements and different speculations recording on formal documents making the boat a central part of the drowning. Each speculation had details that were not present in the witness statement. Why was the investigation of 14-year-old Jason Smith handled so superficially and sloppy? Why was Jason Smith sent to Arkansas for an autopsy within 24 hours of his death, despite his father's request that there would be no autopsy before he could return to Louisiana and see his son's body? Why would the sheriff tell Bruce on the phone that Jason had died under suspicious circumstances, then the Sheriff's Department not be the investigating agency? Exactly. It's really crazy because, okay, Kendrick Johnson, apparently, they said that he was, murdered by someone, and I guess obviously he was murdered by someone, okay, but I heard that he was, supposed to be, that it was said that he was killed by an FBI agent's son also. Maybe the person I heard that from, maybe they got it confused, but I don't think so. I mean, this is what happens, and this is why these people get away with it. And this is the whole reason of them doing it. Like, you know somebody who knows somebody who knows somebody, and you're in. And that's how the world works. It's sad and it's terrible, but that's how the damn world works, When you got connections, you can get away with anything that you want to. And, hell, if it's an FBI agent who knows somebody who's stealing somebody's organs, 9 times out of 10, this person isn't going to get caught. Because they got pulled with the FBI. Okay, so, I'm going to read this to y'all because this right here goes more into depth, okay? So sad, man. Like this boy is 14, and I'm just looking at him, and I'm just like, damn, man. He don't look he just looks like a little boy, like, just a child that likes to go outside and play and have fun and do whatever boys do, Like, come on, man. Tired of hearing about this kind of stuff, and it's terrible. It really is, man. I just don't know how people can be so sick to do something. It's bad enough that someone kills somebody, okay? It'd be bad. it'd be bad regardless of whether they just killed him or what, okay? But they didn't just kill this kid. They killed him, and then they robbed him. Well, I'm sorry. They raped him. Then they killed him. And then they took his organs, man. It's like, I just don't understand, man. Okay. Jason Smith, 14, African-American teen, was supposed to be on his way to school. What happened next would lead to his death. The following events that took place would change the lives of everyone involved and leave some questions yet to be answered. Jason woke up that morning, got dressed in a pair of khakis, his leather Converse sneakers, a blue or white polo shirt, and his navy-colored bubble jacket. Let us not forget his backpack. He spoke with his half-asleep uncle, letting him know he was about to go to school. In a sleepy haze, his uncle nodded his head of approval, never realizing that he would not see Jason alive again. The bus was supposed to pick Jason up that morning, right in front of his house. We don't know how Jason wound up over on the other side of town at the Sutton and King's residence, 4 miles away from his neighborhood, and 28 miles from the junior high school, Jonesboro Junior High School, where he was attending summer school so that he could play football that year. There was said that a phone call was made by Jason while he was over at the residence of Ronald King, 17, to a family friend, and on the voicemail message, Jason sounded frightened or nervous. This same family friend is supposed to have been the transportation Jason used to get to the Sutton house. So somebody took him over there. Okay. All we know is that Jason was supposed to get on the bus, be in class by 8 a.m., and then be home no later than 3:45 p.m. that afternoon. Bruce Smith, father of Jason Smith, left 2 days prior to escort his mother back to California from visiting in Eros after the funeral of her sister. There were strict instructions left by Bruce pertaining to Jason, to Bruce's brother, and Jason's older brother. That evening of June 6th, Jason failed to return home, so Jason's brother called his father to let him know that Jason hadn't made it in yet. Bruce, a little upset, told Jason's brother to go look for him. Around 7:30 p.m., Mr. Bruce received a phone call from his brother to confirm that he had found Jason, but Jason was not alive. They had just pulled Jason out of the water. After speaking with the Jackson Parish Sheriff Department, leaving instructions not to touch his baby until he got there, Bruce left from California at 12 a.m., and he made it back to Eros on the June 8th around 5 p.m. The 911 call. This call came from the King residence made by a woman who seemed to know that Jason was in the water. Who seemed to know that Jason was in the water already. This call was made at 6:54 p.m., which means by now Jason, if he went to school and got out at 3, he was in the water for only about 4 hours prior to the call being made. Examination of Jason's body. Bruce arrived in Eros. He immediately attempted to find out what funeral home Jason's body was in. He found him at the Paradise Funeral Home in Jonesboro. Upon arriving there, he questioned the attendant or assistant, where was his son? Before he could answer him, Bruce found Jason's body in another room. He quickly noticed that Jason's chest was not sewn up. Upon looking down, he noticed that there were no organs. He then asked what happened to his organs. The attendant did not have any answers. Bruce demanded that they sew his baby up. Prior to him being sewn up, Bruce took pictures of Jason's face and arms. Bruce found out that Jason's body was shipped from Southern Funeral Home, a white-owned funeral home where the coroner worked, to the Paradise Funeral Home owned by a black man. In the official report, it stated that Jason's body was taken to the Arkansas Crime Lab because of the suspicion of foul play. When contacted, the Arkansas Crime Lab said that Jason was never there. Bruce was angry and confused now because he was alarmed that something was not right with this whole thing. Upon him attempting to find answers to his son's death, he was followed and harassed. Just like most people that have their organs removed. The family is threatened, harassed, followed, sometimes killed. The investigation from the family of Jason's sister and his uncle began to do their own investigation, only to find out that they were getting the runaround when no one would return his calls at all. They attempted to contact the school, which the school refused to tell them if Jason was even present that day. Wow. They discovered that one of the kids that were with Jason, Ronald King, had a Facebook page which could have some evidence of what took place. Jason's sister showed this page to the Louisiana Wildlife Fisheries agent. A couple days later, the page was changed. Why? Bruce spoke with several other people that probably could have assisted him in getting the answers needed. One person in particular was Michael Poole, who was a friend of Ronald King. Bruce noticed that Michael was very precise with the information about the incident involving Jason. During the questioning, Michael Poole felt threatened and called the police. Jackson Parish sheriff who showed up and escorted Bruce away from the area. Bruce left angry because he had a hunch that more did happen to his son. You see, Jason doesn't swim. He was scared of the water. One of the deputies came to Bruce's house to discuss with him about the incident he had with Michael Poole. The deputy told Bruce and his family that the people involved were bad news and did participate with the Ku Klux Klan. This made Bruce even angrier to the point that he really wanted some answers, and if this was a hate crime, he needed someone to be punished. Since this was hearsay, Bruce understood that he had to be careful. Conflicting stories. By the time Jason was pulled out of the water, it was almost a quarter till 9, dark and hot. The 911 was not called until 6:54 that evening. Keep in mind, Jason never returned home from school, so that had to be after 3 p.m., the time school left out. The call came from the King residence where one of the boys involved lived. When the sheriff department made it to the scene, the father of the King boy was in the water searching for Jason's body. The area was never closed off, so others had a chance to walk around what would have been maybe some evidence. The two white males that were involved had conflicting stories when given to the officials. 17-year-old stated that he was with Jason from 8 a.m. to 2 p.m. and that they were attempting to find a ride to the nearest swimming hole, and since they couldn't find a ride, they went to the pond that was behind the King house. They got in a boat and stated they wound up in the middle of the pond when the boat took on water. The King boy jumped out and left Jason because he thought Jason could swim. Then he came out of the water, went home, changed clothes, and watched television. Keep in mind, King's father was in the house at the time. The other boy, the younger one, 13 years old, on his statement, he said all three of them were together. They started rocking the boat and it flipped over. He and the King boy jumped. Jason followed but couldn't swim. He tried to save him, but he was too heavy, and then he let him go, and Jason drowned. He also got out of the water, walked home, changed clothes, watch television until his mother came home, and then she made the king boy go home so she could take her son to a birthday party while Jason laid in the water. Both boys were read their Miranda rights. There was a third Miranda rights statement by a female adult, but there is no written statement that was with the copy of the Miranda rights. Very suspicious. The boat. The owner of the pond said they did not know who the boat belonged to, and it had no numbers or information on it. According to the report, the boat was found at one end of the pond. Jason's body was found on the other end. It was said that the boat had no holes in it by the mother of the 13-year-old in a conversation with Bruce. Safety of the pond. According to Bruce, there were no fencing or signs stated that the pond was off limits to anyone. Bruce asked the sheriff about a fence that was put up after Jason's death. Was told by the sheriffs that it's one up now. Who no longer lives in Eros? The two white males that were involved no longer reside in Eros. Why would you leave if you didn't do anything wrong? Questions that need answers. Why was Jason partially clad? Was recovered. There were no shoes, pants, jackets, no book bag accompanying the body, and Jason's family never received the missing items. Why was an autopsy performed so quickly, especially since the body had to be sent out to the state of Arkansas to be autopsied? Why did authorities not wait for the father to arrive back in Louisiana before transporting Jason's body to Arkansas? Were Jason's organs harvested rather than returned to Louisiana with the body? What happened on June 6, 2011 that involved Clayton Sutton, Ronald King Jr., and Jason Smith that resulted in Jason Smith's death? What made the sheriff said there was suspicious circumstances, as he stated to the father on the phone when body was recovered? What is the significance of phone calls made by Jason to the uncle, presumably at 10 a.m., and to his brother's girlfriend during the morning time unknown on June 6, 2011? Why did the two teens leave town? Can we get these answers so that Jason can rest in peace? And this was written by Salita McCall. Okay, y'all. You know, this is so damn sad. It's really sad. You know, because we keep seeing the same thing over and over. Okay? It's the same damn scenario. Alright? Child gets killed. Okay, well, let me rephrase this. A black child, okay? Black teenagers get killed. Okay? Because this is what I've seen so far. Black teenager gets killed. Organs missing. Okay? What do they say? It's an accident. They have all the evidence showing that it's obviously not an accident. Okay? You know, in some situations they've said suspicious. It looks suspicious. Some of them, they say that it's just an accident. Alright? They obviously all involve some type of a higher up, or else they wouldn't get away with it. If I were to go kill somebody right now, which I don't even know if I should say that on internet, but I'm using it as an example, okay? If I were to go do something like that to someone, and if I were to take their organs out, you know what the hell would happen to me? Like, I wouldn't even wait on death row, okay? If I did something so terrible like that, I would be immediately locked up. They would quickly move my case along, sentence me, and they like I said, I probably wouldn't even wait. I'd probably go ahead of everybody else on death row, and I would be immediately injected with something, you know. I'm telling you, these people got connections, and this is why they're doing it, because they got connections. They're doing it for a reason. They're the lower ones on the scale, you know. And they're killing people, and they're taking it, and they're selling them. They're giving them to the people that sell organs and stuff. And this is what they're doing, y'all. Like, I'm telling you, man, this is crazy. And it breaks my heart, man, because it's all these innocent people who don't deserve this shit. Like, this little boy right here that I'm looking at. Like, there is nothing. First, nobody deserves, you know, to be killed, okay? You know, to just be senselessly murdered, all right? That's ridiculous. Nobody deserves that, okay? But then, man, like, I mean, yes, you're already dead, but man, nobody deserves to be robbed, you know, like brutally cut open, organs stolen. The families don't deserve that, man. You know, and it just you know, it really hurts me deep down. It really hurts, because this child right here did not deserve anything like that. I mean, he's an innocent child out here playing with, you know, or hanging out with people who he feels like are his friends. And man, they're plotting on the boy. They don't want to be friends with him. You know, if these kids are in the KKK or whatever the hell they're in, they don't want to be friends with this kid. They were plotting on him from the very beginning. It was the whole time was a setup. They knew what they were going to do to this boy. And I just don't understand how this world has gotten to this point right here. I don't understand it. You know, after all the years that people have fought for rights, and it just infuriates me so bad, you know, that people do this to other people, not just for the organs. Hell, you got people killing people because they're black, or killing people because they're white, or killing someone because they're Hispanic. You know, it's heartbreaking, man. It really hurts me to the pit of my soul to know that, you know, all these activists fought for rights for so long, for so many people, for everybody, you know, for everybody, and I'm talking about black activists, but y'all, they didn't fight for just rights for I mean, they were fighting for black rights, but it didn't just benefit the black people who were going through all of this, okay? It also helped the white people who, you know, didn't agree with that, and who, you know, were smart enough to not want to live in a segregated, you know, who didn't want to live a segregated lifestyle, and who was smart enough to know that that's not right, and that's not how the world needs to revolve, you know. And it bothers me, man, because these people put their lives on the line, literally getting killed and everything else, for fighting for rights for all of us. And we're still in the same place. Like, when does it change, man? When are things gonna change? You know, for real. Like, when? Because I don't see any change. I just see it getting worse. And it makes me so mad, man. You know, this child right here, this little boy, and that's what he is, a little boy. This little boy did not deserve this. You know? And damn, man, you gotta teach your kids nowadays. You gotta teach your kid, you know, you gotta teach your kids, like, you know, friends aren't always your friends. Quote unquote friends aren't always your friends. You know, I mean, I've had to teach my kids that, man, and it's just, I shouldn't have to teach my friends that. You know, I remember me, like, growing up as a child, I had friends, and your friends were your friends. Like, I mean, I grew up in a small town in South Carolina, very close-knit small town, and everybody got along. I never saw stuff like this happen, you know, and it just bothers me, man. You know, I just wish that the world was a better place. And I wish that there was a way I could make it a better place for everyone, you know. I mean, it's not possible that just I can do that, but it just really bothers me, man. So, anyways, y'all leave your comments and feedback below. If you'd like to send me anything, please feel free to do so in my email. That will be in the description box below. Y'all go to this Facebook group. Where is it? Stop Cover Up of Jason Smith Murder. Y'all go to this. Right now it only has 1,000 followers, and it's what I'm saying, man. It bothers me because this page has been up. This page has been up for years. Okay, it looks to me like 6 or 7 years. This page has been up, and this is all the attention that it has drawn. It's time for more people to you know, to start acting on this, y'all. We gotta all pull together and bring bring attention to these things, you know. So that's why I'm not stopping. Like, you know, with somebody asked me earlier, when does it stop with Kanika? I'm not stopping. I'm not gonna stop, because this needs to stop. When this kind of stuff right here stops, then I'll stop, because it don't make no sense. And I'm tired of seeing innocent people getting killed for nothing, like, and for stupid stuff. It makes no sense. So, y'all have a great morning, and I will talk to y'all later. Have a good day.